Welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. This one's going to look a little different, it's going to feel a little different, and it's going to sound a little different. I was fortunate enough to have a booth at the NRA annual meetings Radio Row, which is something new the NRA is doing at their annual meetings. I was able to do a number of audio-only interviews, and what you're about to hear is one of those. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. If you're listening to the show in podcast form, please leave a positive review. And if you like the show, share it with your friends, because that is how we get the Stagecoach across America. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. This is one of our pit stops that we are doing at the NRA annual meetings in Atlanta in 2025. And I have with me Keith Bombaugh from B.O.S. Law. Keith, thank you for being on, man.
Charlie, thank you for having us.
We've talked a couple times about this, and I'm excited to actually get to see this in action. And you just showed me how this thing worked, and I was like, woo!
Yeah, it's a little bit of a game changer in the firearm safety space. You know, being able to have something that completely alleviates the need to choose between safety and capability.
All the time. I mean, I teach classes in Massachusetts, and in the laws that we have we have safety, not safety locks. We have secure containers. Right?
Correct.
You have to keep it locked and secured, so unauthorized people don't have access to it.
Correct.
So everyone always thinks that you got to have a big safe somewhere. You got to keep your ammunition locked up somewhere else. I like to tell people I live by what I call POGO. POGO is pants on, gun on.
Yeah.
If you see me with pants on, I got a gun on.
Yeah.
And the anti-gun folks, the anti-gun folks don't get that idea that people put a gun on and carry it. And
Yep.
they think the gun's got to be one place, the ammo's got to be somewhere else. And if somebody breaks in your house, there's nothing you can do. But you guys have eliminated some of that.
Absolutely, and that was almost to an extent sort of the founding, thesis, I guess you would say, as you were bringing this together, putting together a product requirement document when we were building the product, was how can you eliminate that choice between, okay, I have user authorization versus being able to defend yourself at any point, at any time with rapid access and speed. And there's a couple key points that are, you mentioned your large safe upstairs, locked away. You have your ammunition, your rifles, your shotguns, hunting, trap shooting, right? They're stored there. However, being able to have a firearm in your living room, being able to have a firearm at your nightstand, being able to have a firearm in the kitchen, in your center console, and also having it be fully secured and user authorized, that was something that doesn't exist. Being able to, make sure that only the parent or people that parent or the owner authorizes is a game changer. And that by having it be fully integrated into the firearm and as an attachment changes the entire scenario, right? Because you have your traditional cable locks, safes, trigger locks, right? That are either could be completely very slow, like a cable lock. I mean, they come free in every single handgun case.
Right.
And I mean, at the very most, they might be a backup storage inside the safe.
Yeah, it's belts and suspenders.
Exactly. And for us, what we've done is achieve the same level of safety that you get with a cable lock, but with a 0.46 second speed to operational. And I say operational is different than access because, a lot of safety products on the market talk about speed of access. And that is how fast can you does the mechanical mechanism or the electronic component give you access or authorization? Does it say yes or no?
Right.
And a lot of people are like, oh, we have less than a second, or X amount of time. For us, what's really pivotal in that is ours
less than a second.
Right.
That's way too long, guys.
Right. For us, our speed to access and recognition is 50 milliseconds. So 20 times per second, it's scanning and granting access or denying. What that actually means, and for what matters, is your speed to operational. There's a situation where you're like, I need my firearm. How fast can you go from calm, relaxed, a green state to round on target. And that's the time that in a self-defense situation is what really matters.
Right.
And for us, that time is 0.46 seconds. That goes from, by that means you go from fully secure, chamber empty, nobody can authorize that firearm, to being able to put a round on steel. We'll use steel for the reference. Put around, yeah, steel, yeah. To put a round on steel in less than half a second. And to me, that's a game changer, because now that's because of how we actually integrate into that firearm. We attach onto the universal rail or pick rail on the frame, and we have the arm holds back the slide. Keep ensuring that chamber open. So that means that even if for visual confirmation across the room, if that slides back, that firearm's not going to function.
Go bang,
right. And then once that arm kicks out, that slide comes ripping forward, chambers around, and you're good to go.
That's pretty wild. Now, how did all this come about?
So in 2020, essentially, first nephew was born, came to visit, and I was like, at that point, I didn't have to, store all my firearms locked, right? And it was just based on the location that I was in.
Let's go back. You live in free America.
I don't like saying that.
I'll say it all day long.
I live in Florida. Yes. I have family in Mass and Texas. So we're I experience one thing. Texas is even probably, depending where you are in Texas, even more so than Florida.
Right.
And because as you said, free America in Florida, right? But we still aren't allowed binary triggers. We aren't allowed, open carry, right? Unless hunting. Whereas in Texas, it's pretty much
the Republic of.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that. But at the same time, my brother lives in Mass, and so I really get that full picture of what that experience is like, right? And the ability for someone to not have a firearm at the very least every level of their home, right? Because this is the example I give to a lot of people is if you're in the basement or working out in the home gym that's in the basement or in the garage, right? And someone breaks in on the middle level, right? Comes in at the ground floor, and your family's upstairs on the third level, and your guns are upstairs on the third level. What are you going to do? Right. And it's that element of that comes back to that speed of access versus operational. Whereas, being able to have a firearm strategically placed or on you is very important.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that's pretty cool. I don't know this takes a lot of technology, a lot of figuring out how to. It's been a several year process, because what we've done is it's not just improved an existing technology or method. What we've actually patented is the system and how we secure the firearm by controlling the slide or the bolt carrier group, right? So by measuring that level of control is the new category. And essentially, we've created a firearm safety devices. So yes, that absolutely did take some time, because we can't follow the traditional methods of ensuring quality, right? And that path has not been paved before or walked before. So we're basically starting entirely anew. We are California DOJ certified. Well, when we first sent this to the labs, they're like, well, how do we test this? And we were like, okay, well, so here are all your standard tests that you're going to be doing for them. This is how we would apply it in that scenario, right? And sort of walking people through the function. And I think, everyone always looks at it and thinks it's just a pure tech widget, right? And it's not. It's actually very much mechanical, right? Incorporating into the firearm and creating that user authorization gateway. But the very important element of it is once that authorization is given, it gets out of the way and it just becomes a 4.5 ounce muzzle rise counterbalance, right? And that's, so, that to me is, there's the balance between high tech, which we have in certain areas like our biometric capacitor, right? Being able to scan and read through oil, water, sweat, PAM spray, which is, I think, a demo I showed to you one of my first ones, but if not, I remember you talking about the PAM.
So you can essentially, we cover the capacitor, the little square that reads your fingerprint, with PAM spray, and if you're an authorized user, it'll still read through it.
That's
right?
incredible. That's incredible. I mean, this is the thing with the regular, your traditional biometric stuff is if your hand is wet, if your hand is bloody because you might be in a bad situation, it's not going to pick it up. I remember, oh man, this was a while ago. I think it was an iPhone 5 where you had to have, before they had the face readers.
Yep.
You had the thumb reader, and I know when I was sending, this sounds horrible, when I was sending people text messages when I was in the shower, I would have to dry my thumb off so it could read my thumb, and this you guys eliminated that.
Well, and it's based off of this in every single product category. There's different levels of quality.
Yeah.
Like anything, right? You know, you can get a cheap Chinese product for a couple cents, and that's in small volume, right? Or rather large volume, or you can get a high quality product, right? And with our product and the capacitor that we're using, it's entirely, there's nothing but it's the best you can get on the market. It is not a consumer grade product like you'd find in your iPhone. It is a security level user authorization access point. And I think that's some of the issues that we find with a lot of the biometrics that have been used in our industry up until this point is there's a big mistrust of tech, and rightfully so, because if people who are coming from outside the industry and may or may not actually be part of the gun community trying to implement, oh, well, this is a good enough product or this is a good enough biometric, well, that's the wrong approach to have, right? Because the way we see it is our product is there for you to be in two scenarios. We need to perform 100% every single time. And that is if your child goes to use your firearm or touch your firearm or interact with your firearm at all without your knowledge or awareness, or if you need your firearm in the moment to defend those that you love and care about.
Right.
And we have to perform every time, all the time. And everything we've done and had around in this development of over 3 years is to ensure that. And really taking it from the approach of a pro member of the Pro 2A, right? So like a lot of times people will be like, oh, well, what if it can be hacked? Well, it can't be hacked because it does not transmit and it does not receive. Intentionally so. So even, I mean, if you recall back a couple years back, one of these safe companies, the Big Safes, right, was
who's not a sponsor of the show,
right?
But that's okay.
But had the backdoor access for the federal government,
for the feds,
right?
yeah.
Well, when we saw that, we said, okay, well, we need to make sure that we can't even be compelled by a court of law to violate people's rights. So what we've done is we've designed a product that's smart enough to give you the competitive advantage that we need, right, to address the pain point of capability versus safety, but we've also done it from a Pro 2A stance of we don't want, I can't download your fingerprints. I can't download your data. Right. It's not possible, right? Any sort of connectivity or high-tech, big tech element can be integrated outside, but that's your choice, right? And that to me is a very important element of it.
Cool. All right, well, let's talk about how this attaches to a firearm. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Awesome. So, I mean, right, what you're seeing right here is you're going to have this almost just like how you would mount your light, laser, or anything onto your PIC rail or universal rail, right? Just to go to program it. Here, we'll actually just program you right in, right? So you're going to take your finger and you're going to go, I'll do a one that's not programmed here. So I'm going to press and hold that P. It's going to flash 3 times. You're going to do this 1, 2, 3 till it turns green.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go like this and it pops. So we'll do that for you and just treat it just like you're using if it's sitting on a finger on your firearm and just touch it down. So hold on, I'll hit that program button for you. There you go.
All right, so 3 times.
Yep, until
One,
just get that. Yep.
2, 3.
Turn green. There you go.
Green, and then I push it down.
Boom.
Wow.
And it just pops just like that. And now all of a sudden you could be programmed in to use that firearm.
Gotcha. And this little arm, that's the arm that holds the slide back?
Yes, sir. So that's made out of S7, 2 temperature hardened steel.
Okay.
Right? So that gives it both the durability and toughness, but also the flexibility to take the impacts and not shatter or not break and not warp, right? So there's that little bit of metallurgy into that. But then a really fun element is it's also DLC coded, right? And DLC, like that's the highest level of diamond-like carbon, right? And so that's what they're using on the highest end barrels. Creates a very high surface surface resistance, right? Or toughness. And the point of that is, that means what that all boils down to is you can throw a 32 TPI hacksaw on there, like they did for California, and the 10-pound weight and try to cut through it. You're not going to have any luck with that. We've had people put Dremels with diamond bit blades on it, try to cut through it, nothing. Right. So it's able to achieve that high level of resistance to be able to prevent a child who's in a moment of crisis or has had a bad day, or to give that time that is needed to make sure that an intervention is able to happen.
They can't break into it.
Exactly. Or God forbid, even smaller child, right, is just picking up the firearm and using it. Right. And I think that's an element of the firearm safety discussion that people don't talk about, is that we always think of, the safety's for the smallest of children. Right. The age group of, 1 to 4, 1 to 5. And yes, that absolutely is, because that's where you're seeing they picking it up by accident. They think it's a toy and they're shooting their brothers, right? A situation like that. But there's the dark side of the child involved shootings that we don't like to talk about, which is the suicide. Right. Which teenagers. Is exactly with teenagers, which is something that doesn't get enough attention, because it's actually the majority of cases, right? Other than gun violence and criminal activities, right? But about 35% of the children under the age of 18 who are killed with a firearm are actually suicides, where, if I recall, 2 to 3% are accidents. And that, looking at it from that lens, it changes things, right? Because the age group and the intelligence of being able to actually say, hey, I want to do this, or to defeat something, changes the scenario, right? Looking at something that, if you have 100 or less combinations, or if they can go on YouTube, right? And everyone's seen the lockpicking lawyer, right? That goes and walks you through how to defeat all these safety systems, right? Which is counterintuitive for a teenager, right? So that element of why is really highlights the importance of biometrics, and the fact that you can't pick it, you can't defeat it. There's not a way to just, key that lock, put a fork in, pop the lid, right? You need to be the authorized programmed user. And there's something else you should show you too about this is, most biometrics you've probably seen, right? There's only certain degrees of angle that you can read from. So this is going to be upside down and touch that. Hold on, let me lock it first. That would help.
Oh my God, we did it sideways.
So it's a 360 degree touch.
That's pretty incredible.
No matter what angle you're grabbing that from, you're going to have that interaction.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
So, I mean, there's those elements. And then the other element too is when we're looking at it from the perspective of the firearms community, right? Well, we want to create something. I don't want you to have to put new batteries in it, or you're worried about it's going to die. So we have a rechargeable battery on it, right?
Cool. Yeah.
But then we also guarantee that battery for 90 days. Now, that's a guarantee. That's not it'll last 6 months, or it is, no matter whether you use it once or using it often, right? We're finding that 90 days, it's exceeding that. And we have, like, the one that's sitting on top of my fridge in Florida. Well, that one's well over 6 months and hasn't been charged, right?
Wow.
So, so you're really able to have this element of, you put it down, use it once, use it twice, right? You're able to access it, get that user authorization, right? And then you can secure it again.
Very cool. Very cool. It works on every rail. Works on all sorts of guns.
So right now there's a huge compatibility around. We're going to be coming out with May with this new 2-drill slot, and we're going to be able to. We're covering about 200 some firearms, and will be available. Coming in hopefully soon into your store near you in Massachusetts.
Cool.
But yeah, right now some 200 plus firearms: Glock, SIG, HK, S&W, Springfield. I'm guaranteed I'm going to forget some. Shadow System. Oh Lord, now I froze.
It sounds like everything.
Everything. I mean, there is some elements of, we are designed specifically more so for the full size standard and compacts, right? Sort of the smallest gun that we go to is the P365 macro. And the thought process behind that was, when we started to build this, it was not for your everyday carry, like you had said, in your pants firearm.
Right.
What it is for your strategic location firearm.
Right, when you're staging your house.
Right. The one that's in your nightstand that you don't have to worry about, someone else getting you have the right now. For some people, that may be their everyday carry firearm, and that's why we have the a manual override that takes seconds to take it off if they wanted to do that as well.
Very cool. All right, we need to wrap it up.
Absolutely.
Where can people find
So
Boss
right
Lock?
now we are available on our website, www.bosslock.com. But in the next several months, you should start seeing us pop up in the stores locally, in your local gun stores,
Local gun stores.
and in your area in Massachusetts.
Cool. When you come up to Mass, we'll.
We got to put some rounds on steel.
I can't wait, man.
Me too.
I appreciate the time.
Never have to fight with me to to put some lead on steel.
It's a hard sell.
All right.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to put some links below. Thank you so much for being on, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.